Hiya, Assalamu alaikum. If you want to learn to read and write Urdu confidently, this is probably the most important video you will ever watch. In a few minutes time, I'll show you how simple, systematic and easy the learning of Urdu script can be. The way I teach Urdu is different compared to the traditional methods. I think the traditional methods cause confusion for the learners and they find it hard to spell Urdu words. There are thousands of people who have used my techniques and became confident users of Urdu in a short period of time. And I'm confident
that with my help and guidance, you too will be able to master this beautiful script in no time.
So, let's make a start.
Urdu for Beginners, Part 1. Okay, look at this letter of the Urdu alphabet. It's not the first letter of the Urdu alphabet, but we are going to learn this one first. Now, before I tell you the name of this letter, look at this picture. What do you see? Yes, it's a boat. Now, look at the shape of the boat. Watch it really carefully. Now, let's go back to that letter. There. Now, this letter is called Be. Now, think of the boat. Think of the letter Be. And if you watch carefully, it does look like a boat. This shape, this boat shape, it's extremely important. We're going to keep on looking at this shape time and time again. Okay, look at this. This is that letter B we just saw. Right? We put a little dot underneath it. Now, it's called B and it makes B sound, which is exactly like the letter B gives you in the English word big. Okay? A cat is known as Billy in Urdu. So, B, Billy. Now, before we move on, I want you to look at this boat again. Right? Boat and B. So, B has a boat shape. Right? Now, let's move on. Look at this letter now. We start writing from here. We go up there. We put a dot in the middle. We call this noon. It makes N sound, which is same as the sound of letter N in the English word nose. Now, a nose is known as naak in Urdu. So, noon, naak. Now, look at this letter. We start writing from here. We write like this. And this letter is known as seen. So, this is seen. It makes S sound like letter S makes in the English word snake. Now, letter S gives you sh sound in show, j sound in leisure, and z sound in boys. But the letter seen, it only gives you s sound. So, it's not same as letter S. It only gives s sound of letter S. That's really important to remember because in Urdu, almost all the letters of the alphabet, they give just one sound. They don't give you more than one sound. Okay? Now, the English word apple is known as seb in Urdu. So, seb. Right? Let's move on. Look at this letter. We start writing from here. We go like this, we put a dot in the middle. Now, this letter is known as Jim. It makes J sound, which is same as J in jam. Now, we notice I'm putting the IPA symbols rather than writing the English letters of alphabet to explain these sounds because IPA, they stay the same. Right. Now, a shoe is known as juta in Urdu. So, Jim, juta. Right? Let's move on. Look at this letter. It looks like 1. Yeah? But it's not 1. It's alif. Now, alif is the first letter of the Urdu alphabet. And traditionally, when people teach Urdu, they start by teaching alif and they make a big confusion. I'll explain that confusion in a minute, right? So first of all, you need to remember this. This alif, it gives you a sound, which is similar to the letter A in English word car. But alif gives you this sound when it's in the middle or end of a word. Now again, this sound is not same as a sound of car, because the Urdu sound is coming from the front of your mouth, while the English sound is coming from the back of your mouth. Similar sound, but it has a bit difference. Okay, so and two different sounds. Now, when alif is at the beginning of a word in Urdu, it has no sound of its own. It's used only to indicate or carry a vowel sound or a letter. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you in a bit more detail. Now, in order to understand the usage of this silent alif in Urdu, we need to learn about three short vowels. They're called zabar, zer, and pesh. If you know the Arabic language, they're used in Arabic as well. In fact, they are based on the Arabic fatha, kasrah, and dhamma. Right? So let's look at this. This is a B. We know the letter B. We know it gives you B sound. And look at this line on top of letter B. This is zabar. Right? Look at that zabar. Now, it gives you a sound, like letter A gives you a sound in signal. Now, it's not a letter on its own. It's always placed on a consonant which is before this sound. And when this sound is in the beginning of a word, that means there's no consonant before it, right? We need a silent alif, and that silent alif carries that zabar. Okay, so a sound is this zabar. Now, look at this now. The same symbol, but this time is not on top of the bay, it's underneath the bay, right? Now, when this symbol is underneath the bay, we consider it is a different symbol. We call it zer, and it gives you I sound, same as I in the English bin. Again, like zabar, it can't stand on its own, so it's always put underneath the consonant before it. And when there's no consonant before it, if we're starting a word with I sound, then we put a silent alif, and this zer is put underneath that alif. Okay? Now, look at the third one. Slightly different shape, same size as zabar, same place as zabar. So that's our letter B, and this pesh is on top of it, right? And this pesh gives you U sound, like letter U gives you U sound in put. Okay? Now again, it's placed on the consonant before it, and if there's no consonant before this sound, it's in the beginning of a word, then we need a silent alif, and that silent alif carries that pesh. Now, look at this word. You know that Urdu starts from right and goes to left. So, alif, zabar, noon, alif, and re. We've not seen re before, so don't worry about it. Now, here the two alifs. This is the first alif, that's the second one. Now, this first alif is actually silent. It doesn't give you any sound. That sound is ar zabar. Noon gives you n sound. Alif in the middle always give you a sound, and re always give you r sound in Urdu. So this word says anar. Okay. Now in Urdu, usually people say alif anar. So alif give you anar sound. That's a big mistake. Alif doesn't give you anar sound. Alif is silent. The sound is this zabar. Now let me explain it in more detail. Right? Look at this word. Alif, noon, which is n, sin, which is s, alif in the middle is and noon again n sound. Now this zer give you I sound, So it says insan. Now, it doesn't say ansan, it says insan. So alif is not giving you a sound here. This zer is giving you I sound here. Alif is totally silent. Okay? Now, so remember, out of these two alifs, this is silent. It's always supposed to be silent. And the I sound is produced by the zer. Okay? So this will be read as insan. And I've written it phonetically for you using IPA. Okay, let me explain it further. Now look at these words. Ban, bin, and bun. So let's see if we can write them in Urdu now, because we have learned all these three sounds, right? You write ban, you write b, n. Ban. Ban is an Urdu word which means become. Ban. Look at this now. B, I, n. Bin. The English word bin is used in Urdu as well as bin, and bin also means without in Urdu. Bin tere means without you. Okay, so that's how we write bin. Now we want to write bun. That's b, that's u, pesh, and bun. So ban, bin, bun. You write like this. You can't read it differently because all these are phonetic symbols. All these letters are phonetic in Urdu as well. Now, look at this now. I want to write an, in, and un. So that means I need to get rid of b from here, b from here, b from here, and I'll be able to write these words. So, n, an. That's what we write, an. I, and in. That's what we write, in. And and un. That's what we write, un. Have you noticed? I got rid of b in these phonetic writing. I got rid of b over here, and I got rid of b over here as well. But in Urdu, we do not write these symbols. So if we don't write these symbols, we won't be able to tell whether there's a zabar or zer or pesh over there. So that's why we need a silent alif. So that says an. Alif is not giving you a sound. Alif is not giving any sound. It's there to carry this zabar, because zabar can't be on its own. Same way, this alif is holding this zer to make in, and this alif over here is holding this pesh to make un. Now, because many people start teaching Urdu by saying alif, anar, be, bakri, I've seen thousands of people who make so many mistakes in writing Urdu. Whenever they see an sound, they put an alif over there. Why? Because they were taught that alif, anar, alif give you a sound. Alif does not give you a sound. In the beginning, alif is always silent. In the middle and end, alif is always a sound. So are silent. So when you need a sound in the middle of a word, if you need a sound at the end of a word, you put an alif. If you need a sound, what do? You put a zabar. And the good thing is, we actually don't write these zer, zabar, and pesh in general writing Urdu. If you're learning to write in Urdu, then you put zer, zabar, pesh. Otherwise, if there's a sound, ignore it. Tal in the middle or end. In the beginning, if there's a sound, you put an alif and put a zabar on top. Okay? Now, let's move on now. Now, today we have learned this letter, be. Remember the boat shape, a boat and a dot underneath. We have learned noon, n sound, b sound, n sound. We have learned seen, s sound. And remember, not sh, not j, not z, only s sound. Right? We have learned jim, j sound, not g sound, just j sound. And then we learn about alif in details. So alif, two uses. In the beginning, no sound. In the middle and end, always a sound. Not a sound, a sound. Okay? And then we saw that if you put a little mark on the top, this slanted line, it's called zabar. That gives you a sound, right? And the same symbol underneath the letter becomes zer and give you a sound. And this symbol on the top of a letter give you u sound, right? So we learn 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 consonants and 1, 2, 3, 4 vowel sounds. Now, remember, Urdu goes from right to left. And now I got a job for you. I want you to make as many words as you can using only these letters. For consonants, for vowels. You can make English words, you can make words in any other language, but make sure you can read them. Make sure when you write this, you can tell me, oh, I've written ban, I've written sun. Okay? Now, I'll give you an example. Well, I'll give you more than one example. Look, s, bus, right? Now, the English word bus is known as bus in Urdu. Bus also means stop in Urdu, so bus, that's one word. Look, s, bus. I'll give you another example. J, I, n, jinn. A genie is known as jinn. In Arabic is jinn, but we say only jinn in Urdu. Look at that. J, I, n, jinn. Let me write one more. B, I, n, bin. The English word bin is known as bin in Urdu as well, and bin also has a different meaning as well, which means without in Urdu. We have learned about 8 different sounds of Urdu today, 5 letters of the Urdu alphabet and 3 short vowel marks. If you have any questions or observations about the things you learned today, please write them down in the comment section down below and I'll try my best to answer your questions. In my next video in this series, we're going to look at a few more letters of the Urdu alphabet. Until then, goodbye, Allah Hafiz, and have a nice day.